Hey everybody out there, welcome back to 91.8 The Fan. It is I, your favorite holiday-themed host, the DJ Christmas, and I have with me a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself to all the fans out there?
Hi guys, I'm Whitney Rodgers.
Hello, Whitney. It's wonderful to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks. It's wonderful to be here for your cell phone.
Well, it's not the worst quality we've ever had. We've had a few people that we talk via cell phone. I think the last time we talked to Todd Habercorn, he was on the phone, but he was at the farmer's market. He was doing some shopping.
Oh, that's cool. Mine is not nearly so interesting. I'm just sitting in my car.
We'll interview anyone, anywhere, anytime. 91.8 The Fan. But before we get too deep into the the juicy bits of all the fancy stuff that you're working on right now, we've talked to a lot of people, specifically a lot of people who've been around since pretty much Funimation's inception, like Mike McFarland and Chris Sabat and Justin Cook, and they're all like, well, yeah, I was working my day job, and then a friend said, oh, they're doing these voice auditions, and it was back when Funimation was in the same building as a bank. But you're a little bit younger, and you've just started getting into the voice acting business, which is the age that a lot of people now are asking, how do I get into voice acting? So how did you get into voice acting?
How I got into it? Well, when I wanted to get into it when I was in junior college. I was like, I really like cartoons. I always thought that one day I was going to wake up and be like, yep, I'm going to want me some coffee. I'm going to read the newspaper and let's stop watching cartoons. But that has yet to happen. So instead, I was just kind of like, I don't know. So I Googled it, and then I found a whole bunch of stuff like take acting lessons. I was like, oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's so helpful. But it is true. I was already a musical theater major at Tyler Junior College, and my best friend and I would just sit on the internet looking up stuff. And she actually just came across an email to be on the Funimation open audition list. And I was like, oh, well, what the heck? Sure, I'll try it. And didn't hear back from them from a couple of months. And then one day I get this random email, and it's like, hey, come in for an open audition. And I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, I flipped out. Like, my brother was in the other room because we lived together, and he thought I'd, like, had a seizure and fallen and hit the wall or something. So, like, fell off my bed and got, like, stuck between the wall and my bed. And I was like, Sean, oh, my God. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe I got an audition. And that's how I got in. I was already into theater. I was already doing community plays. So I just, dumb luck of finding that open audition email. So
That's actually pretty cool, and you are one of the many people that are like the new faces over at Funimation. There's you and Morgan and Jared and all the new people that have joined the ranks, and it's like, man, I don't know these people. Like I've never heard them before, and they're popping up and stuff like Toriko and Fairy Tail and everything. It's like I gotta find out who they are. I gotta learn more people.
right, and I'm no fun with that because I actually got invited to do mini-con in December, and all these kids were so excited, like, who are you? And I was like, I can't tell you yet. I'm so sorry.
I'm so new,
I
even
couldn't
I
tell
don't know
them.
who I am.
I know, I was like, I'm not sure yet either. My show hasn't been announced, so I can't tell you.
That's one of the best things though when you can finally announce stuff, which is part of the reason why we're chatting with each other because there was a big announcement this past weekend. Was it this past weekend? No, weekend before
I
that.
think so. I
It,
actually didn't
it
even know about it. Like, someone posted something on my Facebook saying congratulations, and I was like, oh my goodness, oh no, it's been leaked. I'm gonna get fired. Ah! And so like, I had to look it up, and I was like,
what
oh
have I
thank
done?
goodness, it's already been announced.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about the summer convention season is there's just these big conventions where people like Funimation have been holding on to stuff until it's a good time to announce them, and the best time is at a big convention is like, okay, here's Gilded Crown and Haganai and uh, Tenchi Muyo and everything else, and there's just more conventions, so I'm expecting more announcements. Hopefully, we get to hear you announcing even more stuff.
That would be awesome. I haven't, well, I'm working on something right now, but it's kind of, yeah, that's all I can
Yeah,
say. That's so helpful, isn't it?
we'll see it in a few months, I'm sure.
Yeah. I was actually at that convention that day to support a friend who was a comic book artist, and I had no idea they were going to be announcing my show that day. So these kids, I raised my hand to be a volunteer so she could draw hair because she's teaching you how to draw comic books. And I wasn't expecting my friend to be like, "You guys don't know it, but this is a voice actress." And of course, everyone just kind of flipped out. And I was like, "I'm sorry, I can't tell you." And apparently, I could have, and I just didn't know. So you were sitting in that class. Well, that was me.
Well, now, can you tell us anything about your character in Haganai?
She's mean. She is such a brat. Oh my gosh. I feel genuinely bad whenever I see Jade Saxon. I've ran into her a few times, like on the street or on like I got an audition for a community show, and I'd be like, I know you're not your character, but I am so sorry because I am just a mean person. She doesn't have many friends, hence the title. I don't have many friends. And she starts the club originally to just be friends with Kotaka, who she happens to know, the main guy character. And I put up some posters, and this girl, Senna, the blonde-haired girl, comes up, and I don't like her. And I don't, oh my goodness, I'm just so mean. I call her meat, or meat bags, because she's got really big chest. And just everything I do, every episode is just to get at her. And it's hilarious. It's wonderful. But then I feel so bad, like I'm actually insulting someone. I need to go apologize or repent or something.
Yeah, I remember when Haganai was first simulcast, I had planned to watch it, and I never actually got around to it. The only thing I watched was like the episode 0, which for some reason I think it happens story. It's like a random side story, and it has all of the characters in it already, and it doesn't introduce you to anything. And I was very confused. I'm like, um, I'm not sure what I just watched, but
Right.
I guess it was a thing.
Yeah, like that's kind of the story is at first. I mean, you finally realize it's a little weird, like at first, because you're like, okay, Kotaka and Yozura eventually kind of, you're like, oh, she probably likes them. You kind of think that maybe Senna does too, but then all these other characters get thrown in, like Kotaka's little sister, and there's this little, there's a nun who's 10, and apparently those two are kind of, every little girl kind of looks up to her older brother as kind of a male heroic prince figure. And the little nun girl, she thinks he's cute, and so her and the little sister are arguing over him. So everyone is just fighting over Kotaka the entire show, whether they realize it or not. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, apparently, from what I can tell, because I've been around the dark side of the internet here and there, and it's like everyone is just into Jerry Jewell. Everyone just wants his D. It's crazy.
I mean, oh my goodness, I do. I was in the commentary, and I was just like, oh my gosh, restrain myself. He's super sweet. I'd never met him before the commentary, and I was actually really nervous about doing the commentary because, I mean, I'm in the show with all these people. I'm in a booth all by myself, so I can't really meet anybody other than the director and the guy who's, editing all the stuff next to him. So when I actually was in the booth with Jade Saxon and Jerry Jewell, they were just the sweetest people, and they just made me feel like I knew them forever. So it was really a lot of fun. I was actually terrified of that commentary, but they made me feel like we've been friends forever. So they were awesome people.
Yeah, it's one of those crazy harem shows, which it's not like an action type harem like I've seen before. It's one of those, just casual comedy school type harems.
Yeah, it's casually a fan service show too. You get the occasional boob jiggle or the occasional butt cheek shot.
Oh,
like
of course.
There's this one, I think it's the first episode, that there's like a whole butt cheek shot of my character, and every little commercial break, there's like little symbol that means Haganai in Japanese or whatever, and it's either on their thigh or they're like pulling their shirt down a little bit, and it's on their chest, and it's just, oh my goodness.
Well, that's how they sell DVDs in Japan. They gotta go for that stuff.
Oh my goodness, there's a bonus episode, and they have that commercial break. Well, I'm not even going to tell you on air where it's at because I don't feel comfortable. But it was an inappropriate spot almost. And when the camera zooms in, you think it's like on the outside of the thigh. Oh, oops, I'm already telling you. Never mind. And when it zooms out, you realize it's not on the outside of the thigh. It's on the inside. And we were in the big, big booth. So when tours come through Funimation, they'll knock on the door and be like, "Oh, hey, can we come in for a second? Can we bring a tour through?" And they happen to knock on the door right at that moment when the camera's all zoomed in on it.
Oh,
and
no.
It was so inappropriate. And we're like, no, don't come in here. Stop.
Alt-tab, alt-tab.
For real. It's like, oh my gosh, X out really fast.
I wasn't watching anything.
Oh yeah, it's like we were talking about Jesus, actually. We were praying. Yes, praying.
This isn't, no, this is nothing. No.
Nothing at all.
But is there anything else that you've recently been in that you're allowed to talk about that you want to promote to the fans out there?
Well, this was my first show as a lead named role. I've been in, like, an episode of One Piece. I'm pretty sure it's been announced since it was on the Anime News Network. I don't know who updates that, but they apparently put me on that. And I was like, oh, yeah, there is one episode. I always forget what Walla and background I've done until it's announced on that site. But I was like a snotty child. That was pretty fun. And my first show ever was Deadman Wonderland, where I got to learn a lot of new cuss words. So you have to check that out.
I would imagine.
Episodes of Deadman Wonderland.
I would definitely imagine that Deadman Wonderland is an interesting show to have as your first introduction. It's like, oh yeah, so here's Deadman Wonderland. It's not like a lot of other anime, so don't get confused. But it's very vulgar and very bloody, and have fun.
Oh my goodness. I know I can't say bad words here on the show, but at one point, the director was like, there's a bad scene. I guess these kids were all slaughtered. I can't remember where it was happening. But he's like, say something like, mother bleeping this, that, this. So he used mother, a really bad word, God, your dog, use all of the words, all of the cuss words. He's like, say something along those lines. And I was like, okay. So I just repeated that sentence because he used every foul word I could think of. And
yeah, just use any and every swear word. Use any and every swear word that you can think of, and then use them again because it wasn't enough.
But I was like, I didn't know that was a word. Oh my goodness, not nearly enough. We can make up our own.
Yeah, I heard that.
I went into the audition. My brother drove me there. I knew 4 cuss words, and now I have such a bad vocabulary because of that show, and it's just in my brain.
Yeah, Deadman Wonderland. I hear that Greg had his really big scene that he just wanted to keep doing over and over because he was getting paid to scream swear words as loud as he could, and that's what it's really all about sometimes.
My mom was like, how is Funimation? And I was like, oh my gosh, I get paid so much money to say all of the words I could never say. It was so much fun.
Yeah. But like I said,
seafood tastes better. Swear words you're being paid to say, still better.
Exactly. But like I said, there are a lot of more big conventions coming up. Hopefully there will be some big announcements. Are you heading out to any of the conventions later this year?
I'm actually going to be at Anime Overload in Austin. I think it's the first weekend in July. I'll be going down there that Thursday, so I think it's, the 5th, 6th, and 7th in Austin, Anime Overload. I will be a guest there, and I will be performing a lot of songs. Like, I'll be doing a lot of, other than panels. I don't know if they want me to be a part of any panels, but they've already asked me to do, a whole concert. So I'll be singing some fun Broadway songs, because that's all I know. And if I can teach myself some piano, I might play and accompany myself and sing other anime things.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
But I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, it seems like...
Sorry, what was that?
No, it seems like a lot of fun. It seems like the Texas conventions are the best place for new voice actors to get the chance to go to because they're really easy for you guys to get to. I'm all the way in New Hampshire, so it's it's tough for me to get around too far.
Yeah, that's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, as opposed to stuff like Akon and Overload. It's like, oh yeah, it's just right here in Dallas or right here in Austin. It's no problem. We'll just take a 20-minute drive.
Right. I live in Denton, so Dallas is no problem. And my mom is the most wonderful person in the world. Partially biased answer, but she really is. And she always goes with me to every convention I go to. She's always been there, kind of my unofficial handler. And she's going to be going with me to Austin, so she'll be driving with me there, so that way I don't have to go alone. And I'm so excited. She's seen me go to other ones, but they kind of were really little, like a school library. And this will be her first time at a giant convention because, Akon's much bigger than Anime Overload, but my mom's only been to little public libraries. So excited to see my mom in a big convention, and I'm just excited to have her there with me. And she's excited too. That's all we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks.
Well, I hope you have a lot of fun, and any fans that happen to be down there for the 4th of July weekend, they get the chance to come out and see you.
Oh, I hope so too. I hope people. I mean, I've already had so many people come up to me and be like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I can tell you that in a few months." So hopefully those people will actually be at Anime Overload. But I've actually had. I was actually really surprised as soon as the cast list was announced. Somehow the Anime News Network had gotten like a hold of my birthday information, and my on Facebook I have a Whitney's Voice page, and that's what I post what voice acting work or other acting things I'm doing just for my family, my friends, and other people who want to know. And suddenly I got all these friend requests on there, and so many people are like emailing me going, "Congratulations!" And oh, it was just so sweet. How many fans were just looking at the cast list, finding me, and just being like, "Good job! I'm so excited!" Because I was actually really nervous because I would in my wait for Haganai to be released. I would creep through the forums on Funimation's site and would be reading the guessing cast list that people would guess. They'd be like, "Oh, I bet so-and-so will be this," and of course no one guessed me because they didn't know who I was. But and then I would read the forums of, "Who's your favorite character?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm nobody's favorite character." I was so scared that people weren't going to like me.
Definitely, but it seems that Haganai is one of those
Or
shows
I'll get
where it's
online,
already.
I'll try to look up pictures, and they always draw really mean pictures.
Yeah, but Haganai is one of those series that already has like a big following, so no matter what, somebody's got to be a fan of Yozora.
I hope so. I mean, Yozora is hard to love. Oh goodness, there's so many points that she's just plain mean. But there's this one episode where she is just awful. Like I really did. There's just like wow. I thought I felt bad the first few times when I just called her names and made her cry. But oh my lord, I was like in the street calling her bad names and bad mouthing her, and people in the street were looking, and I was like, why is no one stopping me? Kodaka should kick me or slap me or something. Oh my goodness. They let me go too far. I can't believe that character gets to go so far all the time.
Yeah, who is
But it
the
is a lot of
director?
fun because I'm not a mean person, or at least, well, I don't think I am. I don't know. It's lots of other people. The director
Definitely.
was Zach Bolton, and he's so
Oh,
much fun. The whole time we would be in the middle of recording, and he'd stop and be like, "What is up with Coast and High Waters?"
that makes sense. That sounds like the type of thing that Zach would do. Just let you go way too far.
Yeah, he was so much fun to work with. He was just a blast. It was always great getting to come in every morning, and we'd always talk for about 5 minutes before we start recording and stuff like that. He was just, I always felt so welcome. He was so great because I was brand new. I didn't know anybody, and I'd only done a couple of background voices and stuff, and it was each with a new director. So that was my first time with him really as well. And everyone at Funimation is very sweet and very welcoming, and much different than stage theater. Like, I hate to admit it, but when I moved to Denton, I really didn't have that many friends. Go figure, I'm typecasted. I don't have many friends, and I'm Yozora, yay! Also flat-chested and kind of darker hair. But I didn't have friends when I moved to Denton, and now I've got so many, and I was just like, wow. When I was in Tyler, Texas, when I used to live there and go to college, all the people that I had that were kind of my friends were all in stage theater, and they are so catty and cutthroat, and I mean, we're all like vying for like one or two parts, but in Denton and in Funimation, everyone's just so welcoming and sweet. And it's just a really nice change. I really like it. It was really nice. Now I know what it's like to have friends and to have people who are not just happy that you have the role, but like legitimately like, oh wow, congratulations, you got this role. Cool, I got this show. So it's not like all of the 20 girls are vying for that one part in that show. So everyone's good job and still hateful about it.
Yeah, I hear that's always one of the biggest
Is that
differences
making any sense,
between.
or am I just rambling?
No, I hear that's one of the biggest differences between voice acting and stage acting is that everyone's always happy that you got a role. Nobody's like, ah, I really wanted that role. I hate you.
I went to college with this one girl, and before the auditions would start, she'd be like, and like whatever the main character was, I would be so, I mean, don't you think I'd be so perfect if I got that character? And I was just like, uh-huh. And she goes, oh, and you could be whatever the subordinate role was, and you just fit this character, that character so well. Like they would just kind of casually try to get into your head, like, yeah, you should audition for the lesser character. And I don't think they realized that we all knew what they were trying to do. They were just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be so great at that lead, and you'd make a wonderful supporting role. And I was like, uh-huh, you brat.
Well, hopefully we get the chance to see you
But you don't
at.
get as many, in voice acting, the things that go wrong
Nope. I
at Anime
believe
Overload.
at Anime Overload or another convention coming up in the future. Hopefully, you get the chance to venture outside of Texas and hit up some of the other conventions that are happening
That would,
across the country.
that, That would be super cool. Oh my goodness, if I could go to a convention. This is my first convention that I'm actually like paid to do, and they're actually giving me a hotel room for it. Everything else is just libraries. So this is super exciting. This feels like a really big step up for me.
Definitely. And now, before we let you go, since we are nearing the end of our time together, I was wondering if you'd like to participate in our 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Oh my goodness, what is this? This isn't like a hazing tradition, is it? You're not gonna like make me strip my underwear and fly up a flagpole or anything?
No, it's really easy. Everybody else has been able to do it, so I'm sure you can too.
Okay, good. I like how you're facing me.
We just asked everybody that comes from the show if they can do a radio bump for us.
A radio bump, sure. What does that mean? Explain.
It just means we ask you to say, "Hello, my name is." You insert your name. I do this. You can say that you're a voice actor or specific character, whatever you want to put there. It's up to you. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
91.8 The Fan.
Yep. Whenever you're all set,
Great.
we can go for a take one.
Okay. Hi, my name is Whitney Rodgers. I play Yozuru Mikazuki from Haganai, and you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan.
There you go. You got it all in one take. See, it wasn't that hard.
I got your right number, right? It wasn't like, actually we're 1025. Like, I got the right address, right?
Nope, you got the numbers. That's always the hardest part. That's the part that everybody tends to mess up.
I almost had to write it down, and I was like, no, I can do this.
Very cool. And is there any final words of wisdom you have for all the fans out there?
Basically, I get a lot of askings. I have no grammar. Oh my goodness. I get a lot of questions about how to get into voice acting. Step one is always take a class, and then step two is make friends. Because you never, honestly, my day job, I work as a director of Barney at my day job, and I would have no idea until he told me the other day. So be friendly to people. You never know who you're working with, and just learn. You never should stop learning, because I know it sounds so cheesy. Just never stop learning. If you're wanting to act, make friends, and always keep learning. Keep auditioning. Practice makes perfect.
Well, definitely, and I think that's
that's very
some of the.
stereotypical and canned sounding, isn't it?
Well, if it works, then you should definitely go with it.
Yep, it works for me at least. You never know who you're talking to. Could be a director or something, and you always want to be friends with directors.
Exactly, they're the ones who get you the work.
Yeah, for real. It would always be terrible to. I mean, I've seen people do this. I've seen my own classmates be really snotty and rude, and then realize, oh, the person I was snotty and rude to is my costume designer, and they could leave me with a really horrible costume and other things like that. It's like, yeah, you never know who you're talking to, so it's always good to be nice.
Exactly. And for any of the fans who missed any of this interview, shame on you. It'll be up on the website within the next few days, so keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.